The world is grounded, literally speaking, and planes are parked, as you can see. But at Kenya Airways, there is so much happening, including servicing of the planes. So I've come here to find out exactly what is happening. Follow me. In this Dreamliner, the seats are intact for now as maintenance checks take place. In the belly of the aircraft, so many components to be checked. And in the cockpit, engineers have to check if the software is okay. Quite technical, but Engineer Evans Kihara, the technical director at Kenya Airways, takes us through.
You need to at least check all the softwares that are in the aircraft to ensure at least, because they're also calendar controlled. As the date continues, the clock within the aircraft also times out. So you need to keep the software current and regularly power the system to ensure that airflow circulates inside the flight deck instruments.
According to Engineer Kihara, just like a vehicle that has mileage that determines the next check, an aircraft has flight hours that determine the next check.
In the absence of flight hours, because the airspace is closed and the aircrafts are grounded, we are now doing maintenance related to calendar days. You must store it in a state that you ensure that you do not enable it to create an environment where corrosion can persist. You also need to protect it to ensure that it is in a good enough state and protected from the weather elements.
The technical language of all that is happening here is C checks, and engines are some of the components that have to be checked thoroughly. This is an engine of an Embraer, and Gilbert Bett, the head of base maintenance, explained to me what was happening.
And we normally remove and do the inspection of the area just to make sure that there is no stress. All the blades and the components that are attaching to the engine are actually in very good conditions. So we remove them, we clean them, and we carry out a non-destructive test on each and every blade. So these are the actual blades which we removed, and you can actually see they are quantity 24, and they have
Quite heavy.
Yeah, they are quite heavy, and in terms of manufacturing, they use a lot of technology to manufacture, and quite expensive. So basically,
how much is what?
An estimate of 2 to 3 million, depending, Kenyan shillings, depending on where you are getting it. So these are the attachment parts, which also make sure that they are serviceable. We don't want cracks. We don't want any worn-out parts.
And as long as the planes will be parked for a while, the engines have to be covered.
This is one of the engine exhausts on our 787. This is a GNX engine. So you need to ensure that the covers are placed in all areas where birds can come and create a nest. You do not want a situation where they create a nest and also create room for corrosion or damage that particular surface. So the aircraft structure and systems are highly sensitive to external interference. So you need to protect the surface and ensure that it's well protected from the elements as well, to ensure that direct sunlight is not continuously exposed during the parking period.
The wheels too have to be covered to prevent them from direct UV rays that might weaken the wheel rubber and the wheel structure. And when I crept through this opening to peep into the belly of the Dreamliner, this is what I saw.
All aircrafts have chemical energy stored in batteries. So you need to ensure that the battery is disconnected so that it does not drain. The aircraft has an ability to power itself. You have an airborne power auxiliary unit, so it can power itself in the air. But now when you're on ground and you have actually preserved that particular onboard power system, you need to use a ground power to power the aircraft. So you need to get an external source to ensure that you occasionally power the aircraft, run the air conditioning packs to ensure you remove the humidity inside the cabin.
Let's now climb into the Embraer that is being serviced. Wow, it's a shell. Where are the seats?
We have a shop for the seats where we normally do inspections on an individual seat assembly. So that we make sure also they are restored back. This is the E190 cockpit. So work is ongoing. We'll also remove all these panels. These co-pilot seats will also come out. and most of the CDUs will also come out, just to make sure we do a lot of inspections.
But what safety measures have been put in place for the workers on duty here?
We ensure that we comply with all Ministry of Health guidelines. We have adopted all OSHA requirements in our work environment. But now we have gone over and above that to ensure that the face masks are part and parcel of the workwear that staff are provided with. And we're also working at least to ensure that we add the workwear for areas where there is high risk of contamination. So what we've done is that we have our upholstery shop, which we now have fabricating our own masks. We are creating at least masks to KEB standards for non-woven items which can be used and disposed by staff, and also for the reusables which staff can use and clean and keep for themselves.
And what could contribute to revenue generation for Kenya Airways during this difficult moment is the airline's extended services beyond the borders.
We go beyond Kenya. So what we normally do, we have line stations in Accra, in Lagos, and we also have staff in Lusaka, Lilongwe, and we have also seconded 2 staff to Botswana, and we are working with an operator in Kinshasa to send an additional 2 staff in Kinshasa. So we also have heavy maintenance where we maintain other people's aircrafts. Right now we support, from a maintenance perspective, local operators in Kenya, operators in Tanzania, operators in Uganda, operators in as far as Congo and Burkina Faso.
When things go back to normal, experts predict that many things will change in the aviation industry.
Just like in 9/11 when the security concerns around boarding an aircraft were increased, we anticipate that the health and hygiene standards will be a key concern.
Amid all this, the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, Alan Kilavuka, is full of hope.
We are using this opportunity to think differently, to think creatively, to see where we can improve, where we can be more efficient, where we can utilize our skills differently. We will fly again, okay? And when we come back, we'll make sure that we're coming back stronger and ready for the new world, because it will be a new world, it will be a new context. So we need to be prepared for that context. And so the hope is that we will fly again, and Kenya will fly again as an economy. We will be part of the catalysts to make sure that that economy starts moving in the right direction.
We at Chams Media also pray that normalcy returns, and hopefully we shall be in the skies again to bring you informative content from across the world. My name is Alex Chamwada.